In this video, everything you need to know about digital nomad visas. If you are a digital nomad or you're aspiring to become one, you've probably heard of these things. You've heard about digital nomad visas, but what exactly is it? How does it work? And why is it becoming such a popular option for countries? In this video, I'm going to break it all down for you. We'll cover what a digital nomad visa is, who it's for, how to get one, and the pros and cons of living this lifestyle legally in another country. So let's dive in and let's start with the basics. What is a digital nomad visa? It's a type of residence permit, really, that allows digital workers to legally live in a country while they continue work for employers or clients or their own business located outside that country. It's specifically designed for people who make their income online, freelancers, entrepreneurs, remote employees, and other professionals who can work from anywhere as long as they have a stable internet connection. Unlike a tourist visa, which often limits your stay to 30, 60, or 90 days, a digital nomad visa usually allows you to stay in a country for 6 months or 1 year or even longer while working remotely. So that's what it's really all about. Is a tourist visa is limiting usually to 90 days or in some cases 180 days like Mexico. And if you want to stay longer, your option is to, maybe do a visa border run, which not every country supports, or getting a digital nomad visa. And these things are popping up everywhere from Colombia to Brazil to Spain and all over the world, really. They're implementing these digital nomad visas. So why are they so popular? Why are they gaining traction? Let me give you 3 reasons I think they're gaining traction. Number 1 is the rise of remote work. With the global shift to remote work accelerated by the pandemic, it's become easier than ever for people to work remote. The percentage of the human population that works remote is just so much higher than it was prior to 2020. And companies are now more open to hiring remote employees. So there's just a lot more people working remote. Number 2 is the economic boost for the host countries. So countries that implement these digital nomad visas, they're doing it because they see digital nomads as an opportunity to boost their economies and to raise spending in their country and attract high net worth individuals. Digital nomads spend lots of money locally without taking jobs from the local workforce because they're earning their income from abroad, right? And whereas the average vacation goer is maybe visiting a country for 10 days, if they can convince you to get a digital nomad visa, then you're staying even longer and you're spending even more money on hotels and Airbnbs and activities and food and transportation in the country. Maybe an average tourist spends, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 on vacation over a 7 to 10 day period. But if you can capture a digital nomad and get them to spend 6 to 12 months in the country, how much are they going to be spending? Well, instead of spending 4 or 5 grand, they're probably going to spend 40, 50 grand. So you're looking at a huge increase in revenue. Another reason it's getting popular is just avoiding visa complications. A tourist visa doesn't allow you to work legally, even if your job is remote sometimes. And the digital nomad visa sort of solves this problem by giving you legal permission to live and work in another country. A tourist visa was never really intended for people to essentially live in a country or to, work online. Tourist visas obviously precede the internet pretty much. And so these digital nomad visas sort of fill a gap in the current gray area of the law where it's like you're either on a tourist visa or, you're a resident and maybe have a job in the country. And so the digital nomad visa is kind of like a stepping stone and provides sort of a gap in the market, so to speak. So how do digital nomad visas actually work? Every country has its own rules. but the process generally looks something like this. One is you're probably going to have to meet eligibility requirements. There might be a minimum income requirement. There might be the requirement to prove that you have remote work, that you're working for a foreign company, that you have clients, that you run your own online business, some sort of proof of what you got going on. And many countries set a minimum monthly income to prove that you can support yourself while living there. This might be as low as, $1,500 on the low end, up to maybe $4,000 or more in some countries. I think Japan or Korea has one that you have to show something like $80K a year income. So what does the application process look like? Typically, you'll need to submit an application online or at the country's embassy, along with documentation like proof of income, work contracts, health insurance, and sometimes a clean criminal record check. You might want to have that apostilled as well, that criminal record check. If you don't know what an apostille is or about that process, we should have another video on the channel. Now, the length of stay, digital nomad visas often allow you to stay for 6 months to 2 years with the option to renew in some cases. So depending on what country you're looking at, these are some of the questions you should be asking. What is the length of the visa? Is renewing a possibility, yes or no? And just knowing what things are going to look like for renewals is pretty important. Another consideration is tax implications. Some countries offer favorable tax treatment for digital nomads, while others might require you to pay taxes after a certain period. It's important to understand the tax rules before applying. If you're looking at somewhere like a Panama or Costa Rica, that's going to be much more tax friendly than somewhere like Spain in terms of the tax treatment of people on the digital nomad visa. But every country is different. Some countries want taxes, some countries don't want taxes. So that's a huge consideration as well. Okay, so which countries offer digital nomad visas? At this point, dozens of countries now offer digital nomad visas or similar programs. Sometimes the name is a little bit different, but in essence, the spirit of it is sort of a digital nomad visa. Here are some popular examples. One is Portugal. Portugal offers a remote work visa with an income requirement of around 2,800 euros per month. Estonia is another one. Estonia was one of the first countries to launch a digital nomad visa, welcoming remote workers for up to a year. Mexico is another one. While technically not a digital nomad visa, they have a temporary resident visa that allows remote workers to stay for up to 4 years with a relatively low income requirement. And by the way, this is one of our most popular residency options. The Mexico one, it is a real temporary residency, not a digital nomad visa. So you're actually working towards permanent residency in Mexico. So there's definitely some benefits there. And you can check some of the other videos on our channel about Mexico residency. And then another one is Barbados. It's called the Barbados Welcome Stamp, and it lets digital nomads live and work there for up to 12 months while enjoying the sunny beaches. And I know a number of different people who have done the Barbados thing. There was even digital nomad events going on in Barbados at a period of time. I remember I did a consulting call with a lady from Nigeria or somewhere in Africa, and they were allowed to do the Barbados digital nomad visa. It was on the visa-free list, and so they were hanging out in Barbados, and yeah. So other countries include Costa Rica has a digital nomad visa, Croatia, Georgia, the UAE, just to name a few. There's quite a few in Asia. At MyLatinLife, we don't really focus on the Asia ones, but there are Asian countries with digital nomad visas. We focus more on Portugal, Spain, Latin America, Mexico, Costa Rica, Panama. So Colombia as well, Brazil as well. But it's really a worldwide phenomenon. So let's go into some pros and cons. So the pros of a digital nomad visa. why you might want to consider applying for one. Well, number one is just legalizing yourself, regularizing. You can live and work in another country without having to worry about overstaying a tourist visa. Number two is flexibility. You get to experience life in a new country while keeping your remote job or business. So it shouldn't really disrupt what you have going on from a business perspective. And then another potential benefit is networking opportunities. Many digital nomad hotspots have vibrant communities of remote workers and people running businesses, online entrepreneurs, which can lead to collaboration and growth. Now let's talk about the cons of a digital nomad visa. There are some downsides. One is higher costs. Some countries require a relatively high income as proof of income, which might exclude lower earning digital nomads. So not everyone even qualifies. Another downside is the tax complexity. So navigating taxes as a digital nomad can be tricky, especially if the country you're in requires you to pay taxes locally. I'd say, we talked about this already, but if you can focus on the territorial tax countries like Costa Rica and Panama, countries that don't tax foreign sourced income, that will make things a lot easier from a tax complexity perspective. And then another con is the time limits. So digital nomad visas are not permanent, so you'll eventually need to move on or find another visa option. We talked about how in Mexico, you're actually working towards permanent residency. I think in Spain, they do have options for switching digital nomad visas to other classes of visas. So it really depends on the country. And in Latin America, we usually have pretty creative options for getting people's visas switched. So we can make a lot of things happen over at MyLatinLife. Okay, so is a digital nomad visa right for you? If you're a remote worker looking for a change of scenery, you want to explore a new culture, or live somewhere with a lower cost of living, a digital nomad visa could be the perfect solution for you. But before you apply, make sure to research the requirements, the costs, and tax rules for your chosen destination. There's going to be a link in the description where you can book a call with MyLatinLife. You can become our client. We can walk you through your options, help you pick the best digital nomad visa, and ultimately help put this visa in your hands. We're a full-scale immigration agency, so we got you covered. The digital nomad lifestyle is more accessible than ever thanks to these innovative visa programs. So whether you're dreaming of working on a beach in Bali or a cafe in Lisbon or a co-working space in Tbilisi, there's likely a digital nomad visa that fits your goals. Please be sure to subscribe to the channel. We put out multiple videos a week and you won't want to miss another video for tips on remote work, travel, and global mobility and second passports. Thanks for watching.